Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. I am home here in Minnesota and I'm outside in my garden, and I thought that I would film outside for two reasons. Number one, when you live in Minnesota and you travel outside of Minnesota, people assume that it snows here all year round. I just want to show you that is not true. It's actually going to be 100 degrees today. So we actually have normal weather in the summer, just not the winter. The second reason I wanted to come out here in the garden is I wanted to remind you that we are in the quarter of the year that is literally about tending to the garden. For Mother's Day this year, my husband built me this amazing raised bed garden. I'll show you pictures of it later if you're on my Facebook page. It's this amazing garden, and it's just chock full now of baby vegetables. We have our first raspberries and our first strawberries, and you know, it's a beautiful thing, but it's also a thing that takes work. You know, if you want to have fruit in the garden, you know, you have to get out there and you've got to weed the garden and you got to make sure there's no bugs. You have to tend to it. And in the creative process, we have that same kind of cycle, and that's what we're in right now in the creative energy of where we are in the year. We're in the part of the year that's all about tending to the garden. We are paying attention to what's going on in consciousness. We're looking at where might we be stuck or blocked? Where are we maybe not being consistent with getting in there and getting in the weeds and getting rid of them? Where are our old patterns and habits maybe keeping us from bringing in new possibilities, new opportunities, new places where we can grow and expand? So I want to invite you this week, particularly as we move towards the full moon this week, to really look at, are you taking care of your garden? Are you being consistent? I'm not talking about your little garden, but you can do that too. I'm talking about the garden of your mind, the garden of your consciousness. Are you doing the things? And again, I'm not saying you got to meditate every day, you got to, you know, write affirmations every day. I'm not going to give you your own path or rhythm. That's for you to discover, and no one's going to create in the way that you are designed to create. You have your own path, your own way of creating. Whatever that way is, though, are you tending to it? Are you being consistent? Are you loving yourself and valuing yourself enough to do the work to keep that creative soil of your consciousness fertile and thriving and healthy? Are you plucking out the weeds and making sure you're really planting in that rich, fertile ground that is your creative self? Are you really planting what you want to be planting, creating what you really want to be creating? I say that because this week we have some fun energy. We really have, in a way, some light-hearted energy. It's energy that sometimes we can trip up on a little bit, but it's really kind of a juicy and, you know, sunlight-filled quality of energy. We have the sun this week in the gate 16, which is the gate of enthusiasm. This is a fun energy, and it's married with the earth and the 9, which is focus. So this week you may find that you actually have a lot of focused enthusiasm, a lot of extra energy to get out there and sparkle and get to work and do what you came here to do. The little bit of caveat that I'll throw in, because sometimes enthusiasm also has its own little patch of nettles, is that enthusiasm without the right homework, going back to the picking the weeds thing, if you're enthusiastically leaping, like the Fool card in the tarot deck, or you know, the young soul who starts their journey, you know, and they're about to take the first step on the journey, if you leap before looking where are you leaping to, before making sure you got a good clear map, if you haven't looked at what do you need to do to be prepared, you know, if you're heading off on a journey and you don't have anything in your backpack that's going to help you, you know, if you're not taking water and good snacks and maybe some moleskin for the blisters on your feet, now if you're not prepared, that first journey, that first step on your journey can be whoop off the edge of the cliff. So you really want to be mindful that this week, as you enthusiastically with great focus start on whatever it is you're creating, whatever it is you're inspired around, to also be mindful of, have you done your homework? Have you pulled the weeds that maybe keep you from being clear about what you want? Is your mindset clear? Are you truly operating from a place of possibility and faith? If you're going to take that risk and start a step on a journey, are you ready for your journey? Have you done your homework? Have you laid the foundation? These are the questions I really invite you to play with this week, because the energy this week is going to really support you, again, particularly with this full moon coming up, really support you in looking at where you might need to pluck some weeds, and you're going to get the energy you need to start making the changes necessary. You know, let's talk about making changes. Whoops. Let's talk about making changes. There is sort of this myth about making change in life that goes like this. It takes 21 days to start a new habit. I'm going to tell you that even that little mantra is a formula, and there are no formulas that work for everyone. You have your own formula. What science actually shows us is that the best way to break a habit is to replace it with a new one. So don't get in there and try to change your mindset and like really look at where you're stuck or where you're blocked, and focus on where you might be broken and where things are not working, because that's only going to create more of that, and that's not fun. It's not joyfully enthusiastic, right? Instead, I want you to think about this week, what new habits could you put in place that might replace those places in your experience, in your life, in your daily patterns that aren't serving you? What new habits do you want to do? What new habits do you want to incorporate? And replace what you're doing now with the new habit. When you can do that, you can actually make change really quickly. You can actually, because our brains are so plastic and our neurobiology is so amazing, you can make significant physiological changes in a very short order of time if you replace one habit with a new habit. But don't get lost in that whole super long quest for what's broken, what's not working. There are places, and certainly there's a vital component to doing some of that work. I'm certainly not saying that just click your heels together 3 times and poof, new habits. I know sometimes it doesn't work that way, but you can hedge the bets in your favor if you start looking at small places, small ways that you can replace the habits that you have that aren't serving you with something juicier, something better. It doesn't have to be extreme. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes of meditation 5 times a day. It doesn't have to be that. It can be something as simple as practicing looking at what is working in your life, practicing gratitude. I know it sounds hokey, but there's actually a lot of research that shows gratitude is a really powerful way to change your neurobiology. That when you move into a place of gratitude, you actually shift your biophysiology, you actually shift your hormonal response to the world, and you get happier. So start looking at new little bits and changes that you can make so that you can enthusiastically embrace the rest of this week. A couple of other things just to be mindful of. Venus is in the energy of provocation this week. Venus is relationship energy. We may feel provoked and challenged. We may be provoked and challenged by the people around us. The purpose of that provocation is to help us clarify where we might be out of sync with abundance. So again, if your world is bringing you an opportunity to get provoked and challenged, it's only happening to serve the purpose of waking you up to what else is possible. There's a lot of creative energy this week, a lot of energy of possibility this week, a lot of energy of focus this week, a lot of energy that's going to support you taking some kind of action, making some kind of change. So get to it, hop on it, and stay tuned. Go to my website, understandinghumandesign.com. Sign up for my newsletter if you haven't done so already. I've got lots and lots and lots of really fun challenges and adventures and waiting lists and programs and things we're going to be doing this summer. All fun, easy, light, all enthusiastic, all great ways for you to stay engaged with the energy of making powerful, positive, creative changes in your life so that your life can become the reflection of who you really are, and most importantly, that your life becomes a reflection of the worthiness of who you are. You are worthy, you are valuable, you are precious because you exist. And if you're not creating in your life in alignment with what you feel like you're worthy of, let's have some fun this summer. Let's shake things up and do it differently so that by the time September rolls around, you'll be full on ready to keep going forward with manifesting a life that is the true reflection of who you really are. Have a great week.